Welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruby, and this is my review for Netflix's new Korean film Jung-E, or Jungle without the L, or Jung_E. This is a film that I was very excited for because it's from the director of Train to Busan and Hellbound, the Netflix original series that I thought was excellent but left us hanging for years. So I went into this with a little bit of trepidation because obviously we had Train to Busan 2, which wasn't great, but those originals from that director, I thought, okay, this is going to be an interesting film. Could it be great? Let's jump in and find out. On an uninhabitable 22nd century Earth, the outcome of a civil war hinges on cloning the brain of an elite soldier to create a robot mercenary. So going into this film, you're probably going to think it's an action sci-fi adventure, and there is some of that, but apart from that beginning 2-minute action sequence and the last 20-minute action sequence, in between you have a slow burn story. So you kind of need to adjust your brain as you're going into this, because you might have seen a trailer that kind of misled you as to what story it is. Really, this film has an identity crisis, and it kind of takes threads from other films we've seen before, like Age of Tomorrow,
Come find me when you wake up,
Halo, the game, Ghost in the Shell, Terminator,
You think you're human?
Metal Gear,
No. There's another.
RoboCop,
Your move, creep.
Blade Runner, Bicentennial Man,
I like the shape of your head.
iRobot,
Not really.
and AI. If you took little bits of all of those films and games and you put them in together, it's kind of a little bit of what this film is. It is really about a mother-daughter relationship. It's about the hero of this super soldier who at the beginning encounters something horrific, but at the same time she's trying to be a mother. And in between that time, we're still asking ourselves about that kind of question. Should you be cloning? What does it mean? Who gets the rights? Do clones of a mapping of the brain cloned into another brain? Is that still a person? What is the person? Where does the soul reside in the person? Is it in the brain? And those memories and what the brain makes, is that part of who you are? Should they have the same sort of rights? All of that kind of goes into this film. Unfortunately, there are some characters here in this film that, like one in particular, that is over embellished with this weird sort of comedy and never comes across as a person you'd like. I think that's on purpose. And then our main protagonist, this scientist's daughter who's looking after her mom's brain, and I don't think that's a spoiler, you find that out right at the beginning. It's weird because she shows no really emotion on her face at all until an integral part, and I just wanted more from her. I wanted the dialogue and the scripting to give her more so that we could be attached to the mother and daughter relationship, because really we find out what has happened, but they don't give us much to attach ourselves emotionally to these characters. So when you get that slow burn of the story for that hour, I was kind of going, wow, this is not what I expected. I mean, the film looks great. The sets are excellent. The visual effects with the practical effects of what you get is great. The idea of how they're kind of creating the simulation to create the perfect AI with the clone, all of that is really great. But it's the slow burn in between that kind of had me going, oh, when are we going to get to something that's going to keep me awake? Because rather than the roller coaster of the high that we get at the beginning, it dips down then and it just kind of teeters off. I'm fairly interested. Oh, there's a little bit of moments that are interesting to me, but I felt like it needed to be something more. It felt like it was pulling from all of these genres, but didn't really know what it wanted to be, hence the identity crisis of this film. When you get to the last 20 minutes of this film, I would say that felt like a reward for sitting through the first hour after that 2-minute action sequence, because you feel like, okay, they've built enough of a rapport with our two main protagonists, so when stuff happens, it's great. And the way they showcase that action sequences reminds me of stuff like from Ghost in the Shell, iRobot in particular, a little bit of Bicentennial Man and AI. All of those are in there, and it's filmed beautifully. You get to see the action. It's riveting to watch, and I was like, yes, I wanted more of this, but kind of scattered out throughout the drama of the story that you needed to tell us. Now, I understood why they were giving us that hour, but considering the film is only an hour and a half, it felt like it outstayed its welcome. So I really wanted more from this. So there are The last 20 minutes that I really enjoyed. I think the acting is fairly good. I just wanted more from those characters to give us a little bit of more emotional value or investment into those characters, because I guarantee you, if you've seen iRobot, by the time you get to that end sequence, you are invested in that character. In artificial intelligence, AI, in Steven Spielberg's film, when you get to that end of that film, you are invested. Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams, the same thing. You are invested. I wasn't so much invested in this character. I was sad for what was happening, but not really that much. I wanted more from it. It felt like it needed to be a 2-hour film, but the pacing needed to be adjusted, and maybe just a little bit more of the world or flashbacks from their daughter-mother relationship. Had we watched the action film of the sequence that we had at the beginning, spliced with them growing up and that coming back to that more, I think we would have been invested more. It's a little bit of a conundrum, because there are moments I love, there are moments I just kind of breathe a sigh going, ugh, I wish this would end. But I did finish on a high, because the last 20 minutes is worth watching this film for. So I'm gonna give this 2 2.75 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
And you got one. Congratulations.
I want to rate it higher because the action sequences are great, the sets are good, and I like the idea of the story. But I can't, because I don't know that I would ever go back to watch this film when we have those others that do this sort of genre so much better. Which is sad, because I do love this director. I think Train to Busan is probably my favorite zombie film, in at least my top 5. Hellbound I thought was great, but it left us hanging, and I'm hoping that we're gonna get that second season. Let me know what you thought about the end. Do you understand the end? I think it's fairly self-explanatory. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long on Tuesday.